We have a very special episode today with two incredible young innovators and entrepreneurs. Sumay and Aila Lu are the co-founders of WEquil, an exciting education platform, and they're going to share their entrepreneurial journey with our new Liberated Education Associate here at the Foundation for Economic Education, Nasiyah Isra-Ul, who will lead the discussion about what it takes to be a young entrepreneur and to be really creating new paradigms for learning. So, Aila and Sumay and Nasiyah, welcome to the Liberated Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so we're going to dive right into our questions here. But first, I want everyone to get to know a little bit more about you and who you are, what you started, and what is WEquil. So if you could start off by just introducing yourselves and kind of sharing a little bit about WEquil.
Sure. So I'm Sumay Lu. I'm a co-founder of WEquil App. Essentially, it's a platform for micro school founders to help them operate their education services, and we do that in a lot of different ways. But we first started this journey during the pandemic, and we kind of ventured into alternative education by creating our own micro school, and then we kind of built WEquil App as a solution to our problems. And so since then, we've been connecting with a lot of micro school founders to help them to connect their services, provide their services through our platform, to really aid in a lot of the common problems that we found micro school founders face.
Yeah, so my name is Isla, and I'm also a co-founder of WEquil App, and we found that there was not a there we could not find a good solution to run the micro school that we had created, and so WEquil App is not only a place to host individual micro schools, but also for them all to collaborate and be connected.
Awesome. Well, that sounds amazing. And I want to dive a little bit more into the founding story and kind of how you all got started with WEquil. And so that would be my next question for you all, is if you all could share your perspectives on how you got started with WEquil, what your initial challenge that you saw was and why you wanted to create WEquil, and then a little bit about maybe just how it took off from a beginning idea to where it is today.
Definitely. I would say that there were two big problems that we saw. One was just the nature of social media platforms and how it can be harmful to young people to be engaged with these platforms early on, especially if they don't have a lot of understanding of how they work. And there just really isn't a lot of ways in which parents and educators can help young people navigate these platforms effectively. And then there's also just the problem of people looking for alternative education solutions for their families just because people are different. Everybody has ways that they learn, things that they're interested in, and that the traditional education system just really doesn't allow for the kind of personalization that is ideal and now possible given the technology that we have. And so because of that, we essentially decided to kind of solve both problems at once, of one, trying to build a education platform that is specifically made to be used by kids, that is safe and allows for constructive use, centered around education and discovering yourself and engaging in healthy ways to build genuine connections with people, and all of that, while also allowing for those providing alternative education solutions to connect with those seeking them, and really combine that all into a platform that can host this alternative education kind of marketplace that is continuing to grow.
Amazing. Ayla, did you want to add anything to that story and your perspectives and takes, especially for those early days? What was it like?
Well, Sumay said a whole lot, and she definitely covered the basis. I think that, well, a lot of micro schools have trouble with well, engaging with the parents and engaging with the students, and then setting up events, and then how are you supposed to connect with them and collaborate with them? And then it's like you're using this platform for that, and then this platform for this, and it's like, whew, that's a lot, you know.
We struggle with that a lot too. You're trying to use Discord with a bunch of parents and students. It's pretty tough.
I mean, necessity is really the where a lot of innovation comes from, where we needed a solution, and we knew that we could create one that would be not only helpful to us, but also all of the other micro schools with those challenges. And there were some struggles along the way, but struggles just provide the opportunity to learn and grow. If you're not struggling, then something's wrong. And so I'd say that we ran into a lot of opportunities, and we got here by just taking those opportunities and turning that into something that would just propel us forward even faster.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for that. I'm curious because I know you said you started your own micro school learning platform online. What was that like? What kind of got you interested? I know you said during the pandemic that this is kind of when that started. So, what did it take for you to say, I want to start my own learning space? And then how did you go about doing that? So if you could give some insight into the actual learning space that you all created in WEquil School, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, well, I would say that, a lot of people kind of recognize some of the problems during the pandemic with the public education system, and just kind of recognizing that there were a lot of needs that weren't being met, that there and increasingly it also provided a understanding of alternative solutions. I think it's very before the pandemic, a lot of people just didn't even realize there was another option. We certainly didn't. We never thought about homeschooling or micro schools.
Probably said the word homeschooling like 4 times in the like
Wow.
most of like 4 times in all those years before the pandemic.
Yeah. So it was just not something that we were even aware of, and we were definitely a part of that group who was just kind of just being exposed to all the new options that came with just the pandemic and online learning and the freedom that came with that. So that was a very powerful experience for us, and we kind of just recognized the power of technology allowing for people to discover these new solutions, provide these new solutions. And so that was something that we took advantage of in terms of just like, well, how do we want to learn best? And what did that solution look like for us? And of course, we wanted to provide that to other people, engage with other kids. And so I think that was a really great experience for us to really see that this was a possibility. And in the process, we met a lot of other people who were running alternative education solutions. But then we were also running into a lot of problems, as already mentioned, just like using Discord and Slack and a Wix website and other platforms for payments. And so that was something that was that kind of led to the platform now, is really just our own struggles and concerns with like just how technology has shaped like pretty much everything, and how that is a very scary world for young people to navigate. And you see a lot of concerns about social media coming from parents and educators who are concerned of how this technology can affect young people. But this is also, I think that our platform is an opportunity for educators to help young people use technology solutions in a constructive way. Like this technology still exists, and it's something that is definitely very dangerous, but is at the same time is very powerful. And so by providing a platform that is safe, that allows for a lot of control, where the platform is meant for constructive engagement, not just how can I get as many likes or as possible, how much engagement as possible, that can allow for a healthy introduction for young people to start using these platforms.
Awesome. Well, I think that sums up a lot of the beginning story right there. Is just you coming out of the pandemic and realizing during the pandemic that there was so much more options for education than you'd previously realized. And how was that switch from traditional education to more of an alternative method of homeschooling? How was that transition, and what do you think were some of your favorite parts of changing to non-traditional education?
Well, I can give a kind of a brief summary of my experience, but I'd also love for Isla to jump in. But I would say that it was just a very empowering experience, because it helped me to just see that there was so much more freedom and optionality, and also just the fact that the world is changing so fast that we need to continuously be seeking out new solutions, and that, it's just individual people searching for a specific need. Like everybody's different, and so because of that, if you know a certain subject or a certain learning philosophy really well, and you can provide that in a way that is very helpful to a particular group of people, you don't need to build a solution for everybody. I think that that's a big pitfall of the traditional education system, is that you're trying to serve everybody. But now, because there's just so much opportunity, we can have different people serving, different needs, and serving those needs really well in the ideal way, because they really understand that problem. And so I would say that for Isla and I, it was also very empowering for us to think about, like, well, what is our need? And there's going to be other kids that face the same challenges that we do. So how can we solve that problem? And not just thinking about the whole world and, like, what does the whole world need, but what do other kids like us need? And how can we build a solution that would be applicable to all of them?
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful, and that is awesome. Isla, did you want to add anything to
Yeah.
that?
Well, I mean, we were always a bit of an odd family. Obviously, you have to be a little odd to get to get to these innovative solutions and to build these things. And when we started out, we didn't know that we would be able to get to this point and to meet wonderful people like you guys. And but I'd say my favorite parts were just meeting people and having those aha moments when we discovered more solutions and we had new ideas that just pushed us, that it was like, maybe you can like work for a year and get one step forward, but when you have those ideas, you can get 10 step forwards in just a few minutes. And when you have those aha moments, it's amazing. And the reason why we could have that is because we're, like Sumay said, we're starting with the kids. What do we need? What do other kids need? And when you're building from the ground up, then there are going to be some changes that you're making because you're thinking through all of the things from scratch, and so you can completely innovate and have a new paradigm of the situation. So yeah, that would be my favorite parts. Sumay definitely covered. Sumay definitely covered everything else I'd like to say.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it seems like homeschooling has been on the rise since the pandemic within a lot of families. And I know you've probably observed a lot of growth with the usage of WEquil with both your school and the solution you've built for micro schools to help them house their learning platforms and communities as well. So, how do you think homeschooling has impacted your ability to run a business. What skills have you been able to learn from being homeschooled that you just wouldn't have been able to learn elsewhere, or otherwise? And like, how has homeschooling helped you have more time per se to go to conferences and network with people and build this solution out? So, what would you say homeschooling has helped you do with your business, and how has it helped?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that like homeschooling as a term, we kind of refer
It's
to it as
basically
just a
a legal term because, you've got to be like when you say homeschooling, it's more like now you've got the freedom to do whatever you want. You've
Mhm.
got no cap on the amazing things that you can do and the opportunities there. You've also got no cap on how far you can fall, but let's not talk about that. And but when you I say that homeschooling is like it's a legal term for kids who want a different solution, and there are a whole lot of solutions out there as well, which is why we want to put them all together to make it easier for those kids to and those families to find their ideal solution, the place that they can create best and learn best and really prepare themselves for the world out there, because the world out there, well, we all know that there's a lot more that we can do beyond the traditional education system to prepare ourselves for that.
Okay, so I know a lot of young people have been building solutions, especially since the pandemic. I myself am a youth founder, started my organization as a teenager as well. So I think a lot of young people are just looking at present systems and saying, we can do better, or we can build something that is going to completely revolutionize existing systems. So I think the trend with non-traditional education is really taking off because young people are realizing that there's so much more that you can do and so much unlimited potential with unconventional education that's just not there in the traditional public education system. And even the way that we think about traditional education can completely change and learn lessons from unconventional education. So, what would be your messages to young people who want to build innovative solutions and start businesses of their own or schools of their own? Because a lot of times I think young people are kind of under the same mindset of previous generations that you have to wait until after you're out of school to create solutions, which is totally not the case. And you two have proven that that doesn't have to be the case. So, what's your messages to young people who are kind of struggling with this idea or on the verge of the idea to build their own innovative solutions?
I can go first.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is that it's not like it seems like a crazy idea these days for a lot of people to think of like, oh, kids starting a business and doing something real in the world. What's that? But really, in the olden days, there were like kids would start their careers at like 10 or 12. Like Benjamin Franklin, his dad was like, "Hey, you're a bit late off the mark. You're 12, but we're gonna get you back up to speed with your career." And it's like they were really young, and the reason why is because kids can do real things. They can innovate. They have ideas, and they they have such creative minds that they can come up with new innovative ideas. And I would say find a space where you can do that. And bringing it back to WEquil App, that's exactly what we're providing. And it's like for micro school students to as well to have a space where they can create and to have a space where they feel safe to to be able to come up with new ideas and take risks where they know they can create some value, and they know that they won't be discouraged, but they will be encouraged too.
I love that. I love that. And Sumi, I know you want to add in here too.
Well, I think it's just that the pace of innovation and change has been rising exponentially, and because of that, our own understanding of how education should be has to also change with how the world is changing. And because of that, I think young people should feel very free to just question things and to, you know, try to understand the world for themselves. Like what is going on? How do I prepare myself for this changing world where now we have ChatGPT and AI tools that are starting to automate away jobs that were you know, very prevalent 5, 10 years ago and now have like completely disappeared. And it's like, how do you deal with a world that's changing so fast? And I think the only real solution is individual innovators, whether that be kids or adults, providing those solutions and seeing those needs. And I think that really is a beautiful thing that anybody can start can have an idea, they can see a need, they can see it in their own lives. Like this is something that I'm struggling with. They can build a solution and put it out there. And really what we're trying to do with WEquil App is make that as easy as possible. Because that is a big need for families, for parents, for kids, for educators. You know, we're all, you know, trying to deal with this changing world, and there's many struggles involved with that. But if we can build solutions and share it with other people, then we can make things a lot easier.
Awesome. Well, I love that message to future youth innovators. And I think it just goes to show that young people can do amazing, innovative things. And we have a lot of creativity, a lot of ideas, as you said, a lot of solutions that are just waiting to be discovered within us. And I think just leaning into our creative sides is really important, and not always relegating yourself to, oh, I'm a student, or I'm in sixth grade, or I'm this, and I have to wait, but that you can be an innovator now, and you can take those ideas that you have in the back of your mind and bring them into reality. So the last question I have for you all today is, what's the future of WEquil? Where do you see it going in the next couple of years? And what are some of your goals and aspirations for the future of it?
Yeah, well, I would say like we continue to see a rise in alternative education solutions, and we want to continue supporting those who are providing it. And really, when it comes to what we're doing, is we're listening to our users, we're listening to the micro school founders, the parents, the students who are on our platform, and they tell us what they need. You know, we're all struggling with things on a day-to-day basis when operationally or emotionally, like here are the things that would help me in my situation, when it comes to my education and how I'm engaging with those that are involved in my life, and really just listening to how that could be, what new features would be helpful to them, and actually making that way easier. So that's something that we're very excited to continue doing, and it's obviously just like very exciting to see all the new solutions that are coming, because I think that you know, as we all went to the Vela conference, it's like we can collectively we can be the solution for everyone, because we can have different people providing different solutions for different needs, and I think that that's something that never gets old. So
Okay. Yeah, I can go. So I would say that we need these innovators. They need a place where they need a place where they can create, and they can work with their parents and their students and their families with ease. And these these parents and these families, they need a place where they can easily find what they need as well. And we really deserve that. And so that's what we're bringing, is a place where they don't have to worry, and it makes finding those great education solutions that much easier.
Awesome. So I'm excited to see where y'all go in the future of WeQual. I know that I stay up to date on your stories all the time of the projects and things that y'all post and the articles that you write on education. I think y'all also have a podcast of your own that you do as well for WeQual, where you talk about education trends and unconventional education. So, what would be the best way for people to stay up to date on the things that you're doing with WeQual and what content that y'all produce on the regular basis?
Yeah, well, I think the best way to get in touch and learn more is to just join the app. It's a web app. You can just go to wequil.app. That's WEquil.app. Or you can just download it on any Android or iOS device. But if you're interested in learning more, seeing new content, we do post on many of the major social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. So those are just the places where we're trying to just share stories from all the people who are using the platform and finding success with these new education solutions. But yeah, we definitely love to get in touch, and so the best place to do that would be on the app.
Awesome. Well, Ayla and Sumay Lu, thank you both so much for joining us on the LiberatED podcast. It was great to have you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.